Good morning. Welcome to our Sunday worship service. I am Martha Schmidt, and I'll be the celebrant this morning. I have been coming to this church almost since I moved to Moscow about 35 years ago. My husband and I raised 4 daughters in this church. They didn't all come to church all the time. They did some of the things like the raft trip and the snow retreat and the really fun things. But they are all Unitarians because of the conversations that we have at home around the dinner table. They have all struggled. They have service jobs. 2 are public school teachers. 1 is a nurse, and 1 works for the NRCS, giving grants to producers and ranchers, federal government grants. So she works with the people, giving away the people's money, even though some of the people that come to her don't like the government. But they'd be happy to have any money that the government will give them. So welcome to all of you who are joining us for the first time. We're glad that you're here. You should have received a welcome packet that has information in it. If you didn't get one, they are located on the table there and by this door. There is information in it about how you can become connected to our church. I'd recommend looking at the packet because you can connect with our church secretary and get on our email list, which there's a very informative weekly email that has a lot of good events and activities and important stuff in it. If you fill that out and drop it in the offering basket, we will be in touch with you. If you are joining us online, there's a link on our website to an electronic version of that same card. Our welcoming committee members have yellow name tags, but really almost anyone here can answer your questions. Whether you are new or not, please consider staying for coffee and conversation after the service, downstairs in the fellowship hall or in our Zoom room. Now let's say our words of welcome together. Whether this is your first or your 1000th Sunday with us, and whether you strolled, rolled, Zoomed, ran, or danced in, we are glad you chose to join us. We are one people of many beliefs, identities, origins, sexualities, and genders. All are welcome here. The land on which our church is built is part of the ancestral homeland of the Nimipu, the people, and mistakenly called the Nez Perce or pierced noses by French-speaking trappers and traders. We acknowledge the land is held in sacred kinship since time immemorial. The land and its peoples suffered immeasurable trauma brought by Euro-American society, and we are working with its resilient peoples to show respect and contribute to the healing and nurturing of this Hitawet Wheatus, precious land, and all its peoples. We're hoping that the folks joining us via Zoom have a chalice or a candle to light and something to light it with. Let's light our chalices together. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek and seek to share.
Beauty, truth, and good be sung. Thank you. So, good morning. My name is Ryan Urey. I've been a member of this church for, I think, over a decade now. Currently, I serve as the building manager and also lead the adult education programming here. So, thank you for being here today on this beautiful morning. Real quick, can we go back and take a minute to say hi to the folks on Zoom? All right, so folks on Zoom, if you could turn on your cameras and give us all a wave. All right, now folks here in the sanctuary, it's our turn to wave. Zoom or not, so glad you could be here today. So, we live in an age of convenience. With a few swipes on our smartphone, we can find almost anything we can imagine and have it show up at our door within days or even hours sometimes. We can watch whatever we want, whenever we want, on screens the size of walls. We can connect instantly with anyone, anywhere, at any time in high-def video. And soon, if we do feel like leaving our houses, well, our cars will take us wherever we want to go with nothing but a voice command. Life is so easy these days. It's no wonder everybody is so carefree and happy all the time. Okay, maybe not. See, the whole point of technology is to remove needless struggle from our lives. But I feel like we've reached a point of diminishing and maybe even negative returns, where our inventions are starting to deprive us of healthy, necessary struggle and making us prisoners of comfort. Too much convenience is actually making us passive, dependent, disconnected, overstimulated, and often miserable. We're taught to think of comfort and convenience as unquestionably good, but the truth is it's in our life struggles that we find purpose, meaning, connection, opportunities to grow and to mature. We need to struggle and to experience discomfort if we want to live well and to be fully human. I'm going to be talking about technology a lot today, specifically artificial intelligence, or AI. And I know this might seem like a weird thing to be talking about at a Sunday service, but there's no denying that technology is very rapidly changing our morality and our relationships, our notions of what's true, our ideas of what it is to be human. I like to come here to get away from the noise of the world as much as anybody. But if you want to remain relevant as a spiritual community, we're going to have to start talking about smartphones and social media, surveillance capitalism, the metaverse, deepfakes, and AI. Now, AI feels like a topic, especially with ethical and metaphysical heft. Unlike the machines in our lives that relieve us of unpleasant drudgery, technology that creates art, writes poetry, holds conversations, generates music, creates videos, codes, provides medical and legal advice, that challenges our very humanity. And it threatens to deprive us not just of our jobs, but of our sense of purpose. What will be our value or significance when our technologies can do everything we do, but faster and better? Or when they make it impossible for us to discern reality from illusion? Or when they can be used to control what we think and believe without our even knowing it? Questions like these make AI a topic of great spiritual significance. For what it's worth, I don't think machines are ever going to truly replace us. But AI will require us to reflect on the role of technology in our lives and on what makes us human, what makes life worth living. And this may be a very good thing. My hope is that AI, rather than replacing us, might give us the opportunity to rediscover our deeper humanity and allow us to re-inhabit lives that are no longer defined by capitalist metrics of achievement, efficiency, and progress. Let the machines have the machine world, and let us be humans once more. But this can only happen if we're willing to make the effort, engage the struggle, and take that opportunity. So let's get uncomfortable. First, join me in singing our opening hymn. It's number 131 in the gray hymnal, Love Will Guide Us.
Love
Thank you. Please be seated. And now would the young and the young at heart please join us up front for our Time for All Ages, read to us today by Christine Pedersen.
We will have a guided meditation now, so get comfortable, be present. This is entitled A Meditation on Hope and Love in a Time of Struggle. In a world so filled with brokenness and sorrow, it would be easy to lose ourselves in never-ending grief, to be choked by our outrage, to be paralyzed by the enormity of suffering, to feel our hearts squeezed tight with hopelessness. Instead, this morning, let us simply breathe together as we hold our hearts open, breathing in as our hearts fill with compassion, breathing out as we pray for healing in our world and in our lives. Breathing in, opening ourselves to the transforming power of love. Breathing out as we pray for peace in our world and in our lives. Breathing in as we hold hope in our hearts. Breathing out as we pray for justice in our world and in our lives. May we know our strength. May we be filled with courage. May our love flow from us into this world. Breathing in, we are the prayer. Breathing out, we are the healing. Breathing in, we are the love. Breathing out, we are the peace. Breathing in, we are the hope. Breathing out, we are the justice. May we know our strength. Let's rest in the silence.
Thank you, Martha. Today's reading is from an article titled What Technology Takes from Us and How to Take It Back by Rebecca Solnit. Silicon Valley is full of tyrants of the quantifiable. For decades, its oligarchs have preached that our criteria for what we do and how we do it should be convenience, efficiency, productivity, profitability. They have told us that to go out into the world, to interact with others, is perilous, unpleasant, inefficient, a waste of time, and that time is something we should hoard rather than spend. This ends up meaning that we can minimize our presence in the world and maximize time spent working and online, which also means maximizing alienation and isolation. Having convinced a lot of us that we don't want to go out and have unmediated contact with other people, Silicon Valley is now telling us that we do not want to do our own thinking, creating, or communicating with other humans. I want to praise difficulty, not for its own sake, but because so much of what we want, we get through endeavors that are difficult. The difficulty is why doing something is rewarding. You have accomplished something, exerted effort and skill, stayed with the trouble, tested your limits, realized your intentions, or sometimes failed at all of these things, and that too can be important, as can learning to survive failure. There's not much sense of reward in eating potato chips on the sofa unless you've overcome great difficulties to arrive at the sofa, in which case the sofa rests on the summit of a metaphorical mountain. But arduousness can be rewarding, and all-encompassing ease can be corrosive and, in the end, miserable. The capitalist agenda of maximizing getting and minimizing giving has some application in commerce, but impoverishes life. So now let us enjoy today's gift of music brought to us by Will and Clover Fontaine. The song is called Eye Upon the Dream.
This is the first song I've written with somebody completely. I'm pretty honored that it's her. It's called Eye Upon the Dream, and we were, what?
He said that.
Yeah, but I'm explaining something. So, we were trying to figure out whether to go between, well, so I sort of say Eye Upon the Dream as an adult to like draw attention to what you're trying to focus on. And she's saying high upon the dream because she's a child and she doesn't have to try.
I do have to try. That's a lie.
So you'll probably hear both back and forth, and it doesn't matter which you hear. It's the same thing. It's just like breathing. You need coffee.
I might cough in the middle of singing because I'm still sick.
Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Take that time to build your mind. Rhyme on with the truth inside. Trust yourself, you'll do just fine. Eye upon the dream.
Butterflies, anxiety, music waiting shy in me. Dancing kids want to be free. High upon the dream.
Eye upon. Eye upon. Eye upon. Racing lives don't lend much time. Carve on out what you can find. Lives of toil, they shed more light. High upon the dream.
Freely flowing fantasies, open skies and bottomless seas, endless possibilities. Eye upon the dream.
Eye upon. High upon. High upon. Fumbled scales and cracking glee.
Hello, insecurity.
Goldfish opportunities.
Eye upon the dream.
We stumble through what we have learned.
Every try takes its turn.
So much waiting to be earned.
High
setting sails without a breeze. I'll bring the wind you company. Real life, not empty screen. High upon the dream. High upon the dream. High upon. High upon. High upon. High upon. High upon. High upon.
Thank you both so much. They'll be signing autographs downstairs after service.
What about the merch?
Oh, merch. You have to talk to them about that. So I'll warn you, today's homily is a little bit longer than we're used to. I ran out of time to write a short one. It happens. But if it does start to drag, I would invite you to find the meaning in that struggle and the opportunity in that problem. So, years back, I decided to go on a 3-day fast with a friend of mine who may or may not have been today's musical guest. The plan was to head for the woods with no food, sit by the river and the campfire, and just wait for wisdom and spiritual truths to arise from within. And it was an okay plan, but we made a crucial error. Psyllium husk is a plant-based fiber supplement that forms a jelly-like substance when you mix it with water. This allows it to dampen your appetite while not giving you any actual nutrition. So we took this supplement several times a day to avoid the pain of not eating. It was only as our trip wrapped up with minimal spiritual insights that I realized our mistake. The pain and the discomfort which we managed to evade were the whole point of the thing. By making our fasting easy and painless, we also made it pointless. So it's only human to want to avoid unnecessary pain and drudgery, and the inventiveness of our species is driven by this very desire. But as our ever more impressive technologies remove the struggle from our lives, we're finding effortless existence to be largely empty and meaningless. Passive living isn't all it's cracked up to be. A recent article in The Atlantic titled "The People Outsourcing Their Thinking to AI" discusses the rise of lemmings, and spelled with 2 L's because of large language models. Don't worry about it. A class of compulsive AI users for whom AI has become their primary interface through which they interact with the world. The emails they write, the life decisions they make, and the questions that consume their minds all filter through AI first. So rather than using this technology to avoid drudgery, these lemmings are using it to outsource the very things that make them human: rationality, creativity, empathy, and connection. And once a person has offloaded their thinking, communicating, imagining, and vocation to the software, well, there's not a lot of human left. At some point, these humans will be little more than an excuse for the software to operate, and the AI will become more real, more alive, and more significant to the world than the person behind it. Most college students now use ChatGPT at least part of the time to complete their work, and this isn't inherently a bad thing. Getting some cyber assistance with grammar or spelling is relatively harmless, and the support can be instructive. Many, however, are using ChatGPT to avoid getting an education altogether. They rely on the software for the research, the reasoning, generating ideas, writing, creative work, crafting opinions, and everything else that might enrich and grow them as people, which is ostensibly the whole point of an education. As such, we'll soon have this class of college graduates whose only actual skill is asking the computer to do their work for them. And from there, having a degree will carry no weight at all, beyond the crippling debt, of course. In an article in The Guardian titled, and this is where our reading came from, What Technology Takes From Us and How to Take It Back, Rebecca Solnit writes, having a large language model do your creative and intellectual work is maybe the most extreme example of dispensing with the process while claiming the product. But in education, the ultimate product is not your term paper or essay or grade point average, it's yourself. You are supposed to emerge more informed, more capable of critical thinking, more competent in your field of study. The students who begin by cheating their professors end by cheating themselves. But beyond lost job skills and intellectual decay, what's now known online as brain rot, this reliance on AI also comes at the expense of self-knowledge and self-expression. With AI providing the symbols of achievement without the effort, what creations will now go uncreated? What discoveries will go undiscovered, and what lives unlived? A life that can be lived for you by a machine is necessarily one that's so diminished and so formulaic that it hardly qualifies as living at all. More and more, it seems that the crowning achievement of our civilization is going to be rendering ourselves irrelevant, little more than digestive systems in search of stimulation, i.e., the perfect consumers. So the takeaway is this: as much as we like things to be fast, cheap, easy, and entertaining, in the most important realms of our lives, education, work, relationships, spirituality, the struggle is the point. I'll repeat that, the struggle is the point. Struggle is where we engage the world, make our mark upon it, and have ourselves changed by it in turn. It's often where we feel most awake and most alive, and without it, our lives are stripped of agency and connection, leaving us observers of our own existence. So I'd invite you to think back on the events or the epochs in your life that felt most meaningful and most memorable. I suspect that whatever's coming to your mind, those times were by and large not defined by their comfort and their ease. I suspect more likely they were times when you were challenged, taking risks, testing your limits, learning, exploring, changing. Many of my best memories revolve around when I've been out camping and backpacking, where unnecessary effort provides much of the joy. Out in nature, washing the dishes, cooking, bathing, obtaining clean water, making a place to sleep, those things all cease to be chores and instead become rituals that can make us feel more alive. Basically, making the mundane difficult makes it meaningful by forcing us into a mindful, intentional state. Other examples abound. Every teacher knows that the hardest kid in class, the one who makes you struggle, ends up being the one you get most attached to. Anyone who cooks knows the deep satisfaction of a meal created from scratch versus one pulled from a box. Or think about hazing at fraternities or the military. Hazing, in spite of the dangers, persists because the new members want it. Paying the price is what makes the membership valuable. A club or a country or a church that asks nothing of its members excites no loyalty. People don't value what they don't pay for. Now, the disappointments that come from avoiding struggle are also very easy to identify. We boast about our social media friend counts and likes, while our actual social skills and relationships atrophy. Or think about our obsession with convenience and ease and what that's done to American cuisine, or the way we fill our lives with consumer goods that are little more than pre-garbage. Or how younger generations, at least until recently, took their democratic rights and freedoms for granted because they'd never had to fight for them. Or parents who, with the best of intentions, make their children helpless by solving all their problems for them. A really perfect example of this disappointment with avoiding the effort comes from online dating, which has made the basic mechanics of courtship as easy as placing an order on Amazon. Not surprisingly, actually meaningful, fulfilling romantic relationships are more elusive than ever, and not for lack of opportunity, but because in avoiding the process, people never gain the skills they need to hold a real adult relationship. Rebecca Solnit again writes that sex involves demands and risks because the needs of the other person may not align with yours. Intimacy means intimacy with that otherness, the possibility that things will go wrong, that there will be pain and rejection. That is the price of admission for intimacy with humans, and for the possibility that things will go right, and the fortifying joy when it does. Avoiding struggle doesn't just deprive us of meaning and growth, it also makes us fragile. Martin Seligman, the director of the Positive Psychology Center at the University of Pennsylvania, notes that to the extent we overcome and cope with the adversities and traumas in our life, we develop more mastery, more resilience, more ability to fend off bad events in the future. But conversely, to the extent that we have an ideology or a belief that when traumatic events occur, we are the helpless victims of them, that feeds on itself too. The same way hothouse plants and domesticated pets are weakened versions of their wild counterparts, a lack of challenge can create adults incapable of taking on the responsibilities of the real world, such as men in their 30s who still live in their parents' basements playing video games all day. We need to be challenged to know what we're capable of and to become our best selves. Without adversity, we fail to thrive. Now, I do need to note that there's a big difference between the kind of struggle I'm talking about and those struggles that have no meaning, more commonly known as suffering. As Jill Filipovich writes in The Atlantic, the problem is that this idea that to develop resilience we must tough out hard situations places a heavier burden on some people than others. People who grew up under constant stress, perhaps owing to abuse, poverty, or food insecurity, may find that this stress is erosive to their ability to use those resilience muscles. Michael Unger, the director of the Resilience Research Center at Dalhousie University, writes, chronic exposure to a stressor like racism, misogyny, being constantly stigmatized or excluded, ableism, all of those factors do wear us down. They make us more susceptible to feelings that will be very overwhelming. So, many types of struggle are simply not fruitful. Moreover, too much struggle can also be detrimental. The blowing wind can strengthen the stalk of a plant, but too much wind can break it. Lifting weights can make our muscles stronger by lightly damaging them, but too much weight and the muscle tears. And so too with people. We can only endure so much. Overcoming hardships and traumas really can bring out the best in us, but these silver linings don't justify human tragedy. That being said, finding the meaning in our sufferings can do much to aid our healing and to make them bearable. As Nietzsche once wrote, he who has a why to live can bear almost any how. The fact that I'm here today asking you to embrace struggle hopefully doesn't come as too much of a surprise. It's kind of what we do here. When the person up here at the pulpit beseeches you to love more, we are asking you to make your life harder. Love is work. And when we encourage you to dedicate your life to justice or equity, I had to remember which ones are where, we're also asking you to make your life harder. Being generous can make your life harder, and really any of these. These are not values for wimps and cowards. Yes, I want your life to be harder in these specific ways. Because these are fights worth fighting, and these are struggles worth struggling. I want to make your life harder because I want you to be fulfilled. And these are things worth giving your life to. The gift we offer at this church is the opportunity to make the most of your one wild and precious life. But we never promise that it'll be easy or comfortable. This may sound like blasphemy to the American mind, but sometimes it's better to do things the hard way, to be inefficient, to be unproductive, to achieve nothing. Because there's value in the effort, and our lives are in the doing, not the having done. Now, don't get me wrong, convenience and comfort can be wonderful things. but they do come at a cost. Meaning is found in connection that's lost when we let machines live our lives for us. I'm grateful for many, many blessings of technology, but I think it's past time that we realize there can be too much of a good thing. We have to take care that our innovations enhance our lives and don't merely replace them. To quote Rebecca Solnit one last time, the solution to technology is not more technology. Technology has stolen from us each other, and in many ways from ourselves, and then tried to sell us substitutes. Resisting the annexation of our hearts and minds by Silicon Valley requires us not just to set boundaries on our engagements with what they offer, but to cherish the alternatives. Joy in ordinary things, in each other, in embodied life, and the language with which to value it is essential to this resistance, which is resistance to dehumanization. Living is in the struggle, and we only truly value that which asks something of us. So let us not flee from life's burdens, but embrace them as opportunities to grow, to find meaning, to connect, to create, and to know ourselves more deeply. We're not here to cling to our lives at all costs. We're here to spend our lives, to expend our lives, and to use them up. May we be blessed with challenges worthy of that endeavor. So be it, and so may it be. I hope you'll now join me in singing our closing hymn, My Life Flows On. It's number 108 in the gray hymnal. Thank you. Please be seated. Our closing reading today is a short one, and it comes to us from Thomas Paine. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered. Yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly. It is dearness only that gives everything its value. Now sing our musical benediction, There Is a Love. Please join me now in the words for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this chalice that it might glow gently in our hearts. May it light our paths as we leave this place. May it guide our way until we are together again. My beloved community, our lives are not something to be clung to. They're meant to be expended and used up. And the ultimate measure of our lives is what we choose to spend them on, the struggles we choose to engage in, the fights we choose to fight. What we give is our only true wealth. So I hope we can learn to appreciate, even celebrate our struggles, not as obstacles to living, but as the living itself, the source of purpose, the catalyst for growth, the opportunity to give, the impetus for connection, and ultimately the stories that compose the journey of our lives. And if the going gets too difficult, just remember that you never need to struggle alone. This community is here for you, and shared struggles are the bricks on which it is built. So let us face life's challenges together as one. Thank you for being here today. I hope you'll join us downstairs for coffee and conversation. Please go in peace and come back next Sunday.